Everyone, what's happening? So, not the usual setup, as you can tell, nothing elaborate. Just thought I'd give a reaction to the PFA Team of the Year coming out. Yeah, in a word, Pogba. In a reaction, what? 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 Yeah, go ahead, Paul Pogba. Edison, yeah, listen, I've seen lots of Liverpool fans say, well, what about Alisson? Look, Edison, Alisson, they're both class. And I know that inevitably everyone's got the favourites, and Liverpool fans will be going to bat for Alisson, and rightly so, because he's had a phenomenal season and he is an absolutely brilliant goalkeeper. Man City fans have got just as much credence to their argument that it's Edison. I think there's much of a muchness between the two of them. So fine, and look, let's be honest. Right now, Edison is the goalkeeper who's in the team that's top of the Premier League. So I take it or leave it in that regard. The back four, I think. I can't imagine that there's anyone else who's going to come in there instead of Andy Robertson or Trent Alexander-Arnold at fullbacks. And that is a certain degree of my bias. Of course it is, naturally. I think Andy Robbo he's just something else. I've seen so many terrible left-backs at Liverpool over the years. Many. And he is just a cut above absolutely every one of them. And to be honest, same goes for Virgil van Dijk in centre-back as well. The best centre-back I've ever seen play for Liverpool. And I've seen, I was young when Liverpool were in the true glory days in the 80s. So I didn't get to see Alan Hansen at the absolute peak of his career. But I saw Sammy Hyypiä, and he was phenomenal. Jamie Carragher, we've had some good players in that position, but nothing like Virgil van Dijk. So absolutely, yeah, I completely agree with that. And I think it's fair to say with Laporte in at centre-half, yeah, he's the best other centre-back in the league. And I think there are plenty of other defenders who are at a level. And I remember the Jurgen Klopp argument when we were waiting on Van Dijk, and we didn't go for another centre-half in the summer before last. Sorry. He's saying, well, there's how many defenders are there better than Lovren and Matip? And everyone laughing, Lovren and Matip. The point is they're both very good Premier League level defenders, international class defenders. There's not many genuinely world-class defenders on the planet. That's why everyone still talks about Sergio Ramos. That's why Rafa Varane is so highly regarded. Name them. In fact, feel free to name me some more in the comments. There are obvious examples. There are some, but there's not as many, I think, as like really good midfielders or really good forwards or wingers. I think being a world-class centre-half, particularly one that's good enough to play at the top end of the Premier League, where it's so much faster than the other leagues. Yeah, I think Laporte and Van Dijk is absolutely spot on there. The midfield today, not going to get any arguments from me from Fernandinho. I think he's the best. I think he's the best DM probably in world football at the moment. Shouldn't be. He's dead old. He's dead old, and yet he's like 3 years younger than me. It's painful. It hurts a little bit. Bernardo Silva, again, look, I've not watched a lot of Man City, but what I've seen of Bernardo Silva, he has been absolutely next level. He was bought in. This is where Man City's transfer policy is bearing fruit. Is they bought him last year, got some good game time out of him, bedded him in, and then this season he's had a tremendous impact. And the lack of Kevin De Bruyne for most of the seasons meant that he's had that opportunity, and he's grasped it with both hands. Look at him in the Manchester derby on Wednesday night. Deadlock breaker, because he has the ability to turn a game. That's how good he is. So yeah, I've got no complaints about him in there. The Paul Pogba thing, though, now I've seen it said, look, the goals that he's scored and the goal contributions he's made. It's actually kind of hard to argue against that. If you go, that's a solid argument. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think Luka Milivojevic, how you want to say that? Scored a lot of goals. I think pretty much all of them are penalties. I think there's a lot of recency bias that goes into this. Paul Pogba was exceptional in the Man United resurgence when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer took charge, and inevitably that's what people remember, and that's what I feel like the voting happens around that sort of time. Look, I'll be honest, I put him in my fantasy team at that time, and he's not come out because he's having a tangible impact on football matches. But should he be in the team of the year? Are there not better players? I mean, look, if you're set on 4-3-3, then Yeah, I don't know. We will revisit this in a second. The front three: Mane, Aguero, Sterling. I've got no argument with any of them being there. I think Sterling is absolutely brilliant. I'm so jealous that he doesn't play for Liverpool anymore because I think he's great, and I've defended him in numerous times and places and situations in the past. I've met him. I worked a little bit of work with him years ago, and he was a brilliant fella as well. So I've never really been quite as against him as most. But look at the talent he brings. Look at his close control, his direct run, his dribbling, his added goals, and people still say his finishing's not quite there. If his finishing was there, he'd be the best player in he'd be in that clutch of the absolute best players in the world, because if he started to score 30 plus goals a season, well, that's getting towards Messi, Ronaldo territory, isn't it? And he might still yet have that in him, to be perfectly honest. No, I think Sterling's a worthy inclusion. And look, Aguero, he's the best pure striker, the best pure centre forward in the league. I think Harry Kane's up there, but because of injuries, he's not quite had the consistency this season. I feel sorry for the likes of Son, for the likes of Christian Eriksen. I think I think people who don't support Man City or Liverpool have got right to take umbrage with this a little bit. If I had to make a strong case for it, and why not? I am a Liverpool fan, despite the fact that today, I know it winds people up to think it's just a really nice shirt, because there's been two head and shoulders above the rest teams in the Premier League this season. It's not very often I get to say that about Liverpool, but we are one of them. There's a reason why this is the most exciting, the highest points tallied Premier League title race ever. Because it is next level, and we saw that again in the Manchester derby. Man United, who've been back in better form since Solskjaer, albeit not in the last week or two. And you look at what's happening with Arsenal and Chelsea and obviously Man United, and Spurs to some extent, they're just tripping over each other and tripping over their own laces, trying to get into the top four. I think it's a bit of a shame for Spurs. I think have had a good season largely. The fact that they're in the top four and they've made it to the semi-finals of the Champions League probably deserves recognition. Once again, I think the Son thing is a big one. I think he's been. I think he's an absolutely tremendous player. I'd love him at Liverpool, and I think he deserves it to be in there on his quality. I just don't know where you put him in there, to be perfectly honest. Do you just bite the bullet and say he's a midfielder instead of Pogba? Can you do that? I really don't know it, but yeah, I can understand why that team is what that team is, but there's plenty of room for debate, and maybe, honestly, that's why they've done it the way they've done it, because we're all talking about it. It's all over social media, it's all over Twitter, it's all over Facebook, it's all over individual websites from every single football club, whether it's independent sites or official club sites, etc, etc. So they've done the business really there, haven't they? Let me know your thoughts. Obviously, it's voted for by fellow players. Has there been a bit of tactical voting going on? Have all the Man United players just gone, well, look, Pogba's the best player in our team, so we're all going to vote then? Maybe that's sort of geared towards that. I really don't know. But look, as a Liverpool fan, I'm made up that we've got the four players in there. I think the fact that Mohamed Salah's not in there is a bit mad. I think the fact that Eden Hazard's not in there, even though I'm a huge Hazard fan. I think he's one of them. You can't argue a game with his goal and assist return. But then I suppose there's people who are arguing against his goal and assist return who are not happy to use that argument when it comes to Paul Pogba. It's a funny one. Salah, though, he scored more goals than Mane. He's got more assists than Mane. That one's a bit odd. But then, ultimately, if it was down to me, the PFA Team of the Year would probably be Alisson, Robertson, Van Dijk, Laporte, Alexander-Arnold, Fernandinho. Am I going to put Jordan Henderson in? Christian Eriksen. Let's put Son in for shits and giggles. Mane, Aguero, Salah. Oh no, I've missed Sterling. Wow, that's really hard. Yeah, look, I honestly haven't got a clue. It's a very, very difficult job, and ultimately it is just pulled from vote. It's not pulled from... I guess it's not pulled from people saying, here's a good, natural and working team. Maybe it is. Let me know if you know more on that. Let me know how it is constructed in the comments below. But yeah, it's an odd one. But anyway, congratulations to all players in there. As long as Virgil van Dijk's in there, I'm really not asked. He deserves all the recognition in the world because he is absolutely fantastic. Listen, if you enjoyed the video, if you've got any thoughts, let me know in the comments below. Drop a like, share if you're enjoying the channel as well. I am in Portugal at the moment for the PES League European Regional Season 2 finals. That's a mouthful. I hope I remember it on stream. You can follow that on the PES League channels. And I'll be back in the Liverpool saddle from next week, but check out the Red Men guys, of course. And the Maych and Pajak podcast number 2 is coming Friday morning. I'll annotate to the channel. Go subscribe, go watch it. See you all there. Ta-da.